Hi everyone, I'm Monique and we're here to cook again today. Today's Monday. Happy Monday everyone. How was the weekend? It was technically Easter weekend. We did a big virtual pasta party over here. I had 15 different groups of individuals on our Zoom screen all at once, all making pasta. It was amazing. Super fun. The cooking never ends. So guys, today we're cooking zucchini stuffed zucchini. It's true that wasn't a spelling error on the site with the title. I'm actually working our way through the produce that we have and the items that we have in our pantry, and hoping you guys are finding some of these recipes are working for you. I do always know that we have a different set of taste buds, so some of the things I cook just might not be for you. You are welcome to reach out and tell me if something didn't work for you, and I'll actually strategize with you to help you figure out why and see if you could make it your own. Or maybe you throw that recipe out and wait for the next one, right? So today I'm working with zucchini. I just have one, kind of medium sized zucchini here. If you had a super large zucchini, like in the height of the garden season, we get those giant zucchinis. You might not want to make this your whole entire zucchini into this zucchini recipe. You might want to make just half and save half of that for something else. I'm sure I'll have another zucchini recipe coming up soon. I'm just cutting that in half, that lengthwise. So essentially what we're going to have is these little zucchini bows. Now, and we're going to scoop out the middle. I've got a pan over here warming up, and I have my oven on about 375 on the oven. This is warming up to about a medium high heat. With our boats, you see how they rock a little bit, and what I want to do is give them just a little bit of a flat surface so they don't rock so much. So I'm going to come in and just cut just a little edge off the base of this so that it sits nice and flat. That'll help you when you are moving it around in the pan too. See how that sits just a little bit nicer? Super easy to do. Just give it a little edge. And then what's fun about, what I think is fun about this recipe is we're not wasting any of our ingredients. We're scooping out those insides and we're going to saute them and stuff the zucchini back with it. Even these little outside skins, right? These skins I'm actually going to chop and use as well. Guys, I see a few of you are on chatting with me, so I'm going to say hi real quick. Hi, Michelle says, I mainly come on for your cute wave. I know, I do. It's so fun. I don't know. I just started one day. I was nervous, and I was like, I don't know what to do. And I still get nervous sometimes. And my hairstyle. You know, every year I seem to change my hair. Last year, this hair was, about an inch short and very dark, and I was rocking that hairstyle. I don't know if I'm really rocking these ones or not, but it's very nice of you to say. Guys, I am working at cutting out, and Elizabeth too. Hi, Elizabeth. I am working at cutting out just the inside of this. I'm using my paring knife. I want to leave a wall all the way around the outside of this zucchini. So I'm using my paring knife to just sort of do a little V shape in the middle of the flesh of the zucchini to get it out. And then I'm going to use my spoon to scoop it out. And by the way, I really appreciate when you guys come on and say such nice things to me. That makes me feel so good, and I'm so happy that you're getting something out of some of these if nothing else, a little entertainment in your day, a little break in your day. Okay, I got this one pretty well scooped out. See that you can use your spoon there just to like hollow it out if you need to. And what we really want to do is try not to break through any of the skin areas, right? We want to make sure it has almost like a little concave boat. That's what we're looking for. That's where we're going to fill it. So there's our first one, and set our insides of our zucchini aside, because that's what the part that we're going to stuff this with. So here we go. I'm making that sort of V shape again here. Going down the other side, leaving myself a nice little edge along that zucchini wall so that it doesn't concave, so it doesn't like fall in on itself. And scoop that out. Should just kind of lift right out. This one's going to lift out in little batches. There we go. And you can see how it's almost like V shape. That's really how I'm cutting them. It's just that V. What I found the easiest way to get it out. instead of just taking my spoon in and dredging it out first, you have a little more control over this. I'm gonna clean out this wall just a little bit more. Now we're going to take these zucchinis and we're going to roast them. And I said I've got about a 375 degree oven. I'm not looking to get these super soft. I think you guys know me by now. I like texture in my food. Can you guys see how that's a little scooped out in there? Yeah, those are our zucchinis. Our zucchini boats, I think we'll call them. Let me just check in. Yeah. Somebody asked if I'm Mike's daughter. I am Mike's daughter. Not sure we're talking about the same Mike, but yes, Mike is my dad. We just did a family Zoom call yesterday. Has anybody been doing Zoom calls with their family? We've been doing a ton with friends, doing happy hours and game nights and things, but we hadn't done any with the family. So I set up one with our family yesterday because for us, it's a lot of tradition around Easter to get together and make homemade ravioli together. And I really miss being able to do that. So we set up a Zoom call, and it was so fun. Most of the family were able to make it on, and I actually got to watch Dad rolling his pasta out and making the pasta. So it's really a cool thing to do. If you guys haven't done that yet, I highly recommend it. I'm going to rub the little insides of these with a little olive oil. You could use butter, you could use ghee, you could use coconut oil. Any of those that you're using, we just want to give it just a little something. I'm using my olive oil squirter here. I have put that squirter, I got it at Amazon. I put the link to that one up on one of the pages. I'll make sure I put it in the link on this when we put it into the blog too. Now we want to do a little salt and pepper in here. There we go. Just give that some good salt and a little pepper. If you're a pepper fan, if you're not a pepper fan, you could skip this step. I like to really let my vegetables come through on their own. Oops. I'm going to try to get my pepper out here. There we go. There's just a little tiny bit of my pepper left. I haven't been able to upgrade my pepper and replace it yet in my pepper grinder. I really like the vegetables to come through with a basic salt and pepper because it's just a flavor that I've really learned to love. If you let your palate change, sometimes just really simple ingredients can satisfy you more than anything else. Now, that's not to say sometimes if you want a little more flavor, sprinkle this with a little cumin or something along those lines, maybe some oregano, maybe some garlic powder. Dump those into your oven, and we're just going to let them roast a little bit while we're making the filling that we're going to stuff them with. Yeah, so good. Okay, who's still with me and who's following along? I think Melissa was going to make zucchini because she had some zucchini, and I think Karen was making the zucchini with us today because she has scored a rather large zucchini today. I'm taking my little insides and I'm chopping them into just some strips, and I'm going to chop them into bite-sized pieces. Think about this. I don't want them too big because they have to stuff back inside that zucchini. So I want them kind of small. Now they'll shrink a little bit when they're cooking. And you also want to think about anytime you chop something, think about everything else that's going with it, how you're going to chop all of it in a similar size fashion so that when you take a bite, you get a little bit of everything on the same fork, right? Does that make sense? It's also going to help things cook a little more consistently too. Okay, so those guys are done. I forgot my onion. Wait 1 second. I have an onion over here. Oh, and my little outsides of my little zucchini edges that helped us make a very sturdy boat, chopping those. Now, I am a bigger fan of organic vegetables, especially this time of year when we're in a crisis like this. Organic vegetables can help you stay a little bit healthier because they don't have all those extra pesticides on them. I do think it makes a big difference within our system, especially our endocrine systems. We don't want those pesticides to mess with our hormones, and as women, we already have enough challenged hormones, don't we? All right, I'm gonna just clean up my onion a little bit. I had it sitting out and some of the edges are a little dry. I'm gonna take those off. And you guys, I keep a little bowl off to the side, and all my edges go in that bowl. And then at the end, I also throw them into my broth bag, right? Oh, and a piece of garlic. I need garlic. Hang on. was like, normally, I always start these segments out by saying I smash my garlic first, because by smashing your garlic and setting it aside, you guys know the drill, intensifies those healing properties, right? I think we all know that now. So I'm going to take that, set that aside, and just let that cook. Okay, so I'm doing a little onion. I'm doing a little zucchini. I'm going to toss a little garlic in there. And I'm going to do a little bit, I have some fennel that I was working with this weekend. I have a stock of fennel left. And I have a little, some greens. You could stuff your zucchini with anything. And to be honest, the very first time I made this recipe, I only stuffed my zucchini with zucchini. I had nothing else. So I chopped out the zucchini. I toasted it in the pan. And I put it back inside the zucchini. And it was perfect. It was just, that's all I needed. I thought today we could go a little bit more. And as always, use what you have available in your refrigerator. If you have the zucchini to work with, but you don't have any Swiss chard, skip it, right? You could totally skip it. Yeah. All right, getting my ghee going. This is my ghee. This is clarified butter, more healing for your digestive system than a regular butter is. It has the milk solids removed out of it, and this is why I like it. We're gonna drop in our onions. I also like that ghee is shelf stable, so you don't have to worry about it being in your refrigerator. You can put it in that pantry, and it's totally fine in there. And you'll find that just usually at the grocery store, you're going to find it more in that Indian section is where you're going to find that. I also like to buy it online because I can get it delivered. I have noticed right now, though, on buying ghee online, at least on Amazon, that the price has like tripled. So I'm running low. I probably won't get any more for a little while for that reason. Because it's just a little out of my price range right now, and that's okay. So I'm going to let those onions cook for a minute. I have this little piece of a fennel, so I'm going to throw this in because it's just, like I said, it was just something that I had left over from my big fennel bulb. And this is the fennel, this is like the little stalk that has all the little fronds on it. A lot of times people throw those away. I cook with them. I figure why not? I really like the idea of nose to root cooking because, you know, we should cook with all the edges of our plants, right? There's no reason. We throw so much away that we think we can't eat, and the truth is we can eat it all. It doesn't, like, there isn't these things that we should be wasting. And at the very least, if you have the ability to compost it, some composting would be great in some of these items that you normally don't want to eat. I don't have a composter, but I'm in the market for one. So if you guys have an under-the-counter composter, if you have one that you're using in your backyard, just a little tub or on your back patio, let me know. I'm definitely in the market looking for one, hoping that I can put it up on my roof deck. Okay, this is a Swiss chard, and I love Swiss chard. This is rainbow Swiss chard because it's just so pretty. The stalks are so pretty. So I'm putting this, I'm using this a lot like celery. If you don't have celery, or you don't have Swiss chard, use celery. They're similar in flavor, a little different, but similar. I'm going to throw that in our pan. I like to do the stalks first so they get a little softening to them. And I'm going to get my zucchini in there. Just simple already. All right, how's everybody else doing out there? Toss it all together. We're going to add a little bit of my pink Himalayan salt. Preference for pink salt or sea salt. You want to get a little salt in your dish early. It's going to help get a consistent salt flavor going throughout the dish. You can always add a little salt at the end, right? But adding salt at the end is going to give you a little more of that superficial salt flavor. You're going to get that on your tongue first, and sometimes that can be overpowering. So I always like to have a little bit of that saltness in here and a little salt in the beginning. It helps to break down the foods too. Okay, let me just check on what's going on here. Darlene, you didn't tell me how you know Mike. You should tell me how you know my dad. Oh, Michelle says I need that olive oil. So I love having the olive oil sprays. It makes the mister makes such a big difference because I can control that tiny bit of oil without having to dump it out of a jar, and then you always dump too much. Yeah, it makes a big difference. So I'll make sure I get that out for you. Now, I've got the fennel, so I might throw a couple fennel fronds in there, but I'll save them for the top. I've got the Swiss chard leaves that we pulled off. I'm going to toss those in there. And I also have a little bit of spinach too. We're going to toss that in. Let's recap. We're doing zucchini, stuffed zucchini. I took a medium-sized zucchini. I cut it in half, scooped out the inside to make a boat. Gave it a little bit of olive oil, a little salt and pepper, and I've got that in the oven that's roasting. Over here, what we're doing is I've got the inside of that zucchini. I've tossed it up, little onion, little zucchini, the inside stalk of a Swiss chard, and a stalk of the fennel. That's over here just toasting away. This doesn't have to cook long at all. I just want to soften it a little bit. All right, chopping up my Swiss chard. I do tend to like to tear these apart, but today I want this kind of small because, again, you have to think about how you're going to eat this and the size of everything else you have in there. I'm going to bring in the spinach and tear it up just a little bit. That just needs to wilt for a minute, right? Spinach doesn't take long at all. It gets so small too, right? There's so much liquid. You know what I like about this dish is I'm not using any grains. I'm not using any meat. It is Meatless Monday. It's all just vegetables that we're dealing with here. And that's a good thing for the body. That zucchini has a lot of water content in it. That's going to help you stay hydrated. Oh, zucchini tried to get out. Spinach tried to get out. That helps keep you hydrated, and that's really important. It's one of the base tenets of health. If we don't stay hydrated, we can't possibly be healthy. You think about a plant that you haven't watered in a little while, and it starts to wither up, and it starts to like shrink, and it starts to fall over. That's our bodies too. Our bodies act the same way. We've got to get lots of hydration in. I know it seems so mundane because people say, hydrate, hydrate, hydrate. And you're like, I hear about that all the time, but it really is like a key important factor. All right, I'm going to take that garlic clove. You also have to think about this when we hydrate, when we drink. If you're starting your day out with coffee is a total dehydrator. Right? That dehydrates the body. So now, first of all, you woke up all night long, you were dehydrated because you're not drinking water for, 5 to 8 to 9 hours or something like that. Your body actually loses water by breath, right? We sweat it out, we urinate it out, but breathing is where we also lose our hydration, our water. So when you wake up, you're a bit dehydrated. And then if you don't drink water first and if you go right to that coffee, imagine that. Your body's like, oh God, it's I'm even more dehydrated. It's just sucking the water out of you that you have. So I highly recommend. And listen, I owned a coffee shop. I understand how hard it is to give up that coffee in the morning. And I'm not saying you have to give up the entire coffee. What I would like you to think about doing, though, is getting hydration in first. Making sure you get one giant glass of water in you before you have coffee. I tell people to think about coffee as more of dessert. Have a little breakfast, get a little something in your tummy, then have the coffee. Because the coffee is very acidic, and if it's the first thing you put in your stomach without any food, you start your day out in that sort of acidic state versus an alkaline state. Disease tends to grow in that acidic state versus an alkaline state. So if you can get just a bite of food in you before you can get that coffee in, the water, a bite of food, then the coffee, that's ideal. And strive for it. Maybe try it one day, and if it works, then try it 2 days in a row. Ease into it. Yeah. Okay, so just checking in, make sure I'm not missing anything. I got a few people chatting on the page out there. This is done. Our stuffing is done. I'm adding in a little chopped parsley. I had a little bit of basil that I thought would go really nice on there. It was really on its last legs, and I got it for the pasta party this weekend, but it's on its last legs, and so I thought, let's get a little basil in there. I think that'd be a really yummy flavor. If you have some, great. If you don't have any, skip it. You can always go with like a cilantro or something like that as well. I've got a little bit of green onion. Mine are a little worse for the wear. My green onions this time I didn't choose very well. I'm going to put those across the top just as a little finisher. So I'm going to hold those for just a second. And let me do a cleanup. I'm going to pull our zucchini out. We're going to stuff them, and I'm going to show you how we're going to top them. And guys, let me know if you have questions about some of these little health tidbits that I talk about, like this hydration. Because I know sometimes it can be confusing. There's so many different blogs and news articles and the like out there, and it can be confusing. And I don't ever want you to think that you have to believe everything I say, but I do want to at least pique your interest to learn more about it so that you can have power over your food and have control of your health. That's really what it's all about, to help you feel better, right? Let's check our zucchini. Okay, as I mentioned, I wasn't trying to like roast them till they're tiny or too soft. These guys are pretty thick already, pretty crunchy still. You could roast yours a little bit longer if you wanted it roasted a little bit longer. You could totally do that. We're going to put these back in the oven for just a minute. So let me see. Let me get a spoon here. And I'm just going to fill my zucchini boats with this stuffing. Whoops, one last thing. I thought this would be fun because we're going to drizzle with a little balsamic. I have some pine nuts. I'm going to dump those in my stuffing. These are pre-toasted. If yours aren't pre-toasted, toss them into your stuffing and just toast them in with the stuffing when you put in maybe the garlic. Or just dump them across the top. You can just sprinkle them right across the top of your zucchini too. I had first pulled out my pepitas, my pumpkin seeds. I'm a huge fan of the pumpkin seeds. I like the zinc. They're good fodder for the body. So I use pumpkin seeds a lot, and I just sort of thought, I'm using pumpkin seeds up with you guys so much, why don't I do something different? I have these pine nuts all ready to go. Oh, look at how yummy this is. This is great for a Monday when you want to just lighten up a little bit. You could do this as a side dish too, right? It could be a side dish to maybe some shrimp, some chicken, heck, maybe even a little steak if that's what you're eating. Again, there's never any judgment here, right? We're all just making it through the best we can. And if you get one good, solid, healthy meal in a day, you know, that's fantastic. That's a great place to start, right? Don't beat yourself up. If this isn't if you just normally don't cook and you don't eat this way, ease into it, right? I didn't get this way in one day. It's taken me a long time and lots of learning and training. Okay, final two touches. We're going to hit both of these with some breadcrumbs. Now, Panko breadcrumbs, P-A-N-K-O, Panko breadcrumbs are the breadcrumbs of all breadcrumbs. They're the best breadcrumbs out there. I have some in my pantry, and I'm going to sprinkle one of them with Panko. This is Dave's because he does like the breadcrumbs. They're so delicious. I don't use them a lot for me. I really, as I mentioned a number of times, I try to go pretty gluten-free. It just makes me feel better. So that's the Panko side for Dave. So get a little sprinkle of those on there. For mine, I've been making myself this little gluten-free bread that's made out of a nut butter. And I took a few of those slices of that bread and I put them in the oven to toast them. Then I tossed them into a food processor and turned them into crumbs. I'm using a mixture of that, and if you have followed the video that we did where I made the nut butter, the almond nut butter, and we strained it, and you have this pulp left over, I dried that out and I crumbed that up as well, and now I'm putting that on there. So I'm getting like some nice good fats on mine. One final touch is a little cheese. If you're not eating cheese, skip this step. If you are eating cheese, you're going to get this lovely little crust across the top. And all I'm doing is shaving and grating a little cheese right over the top of those breadcrumbs, right on the top of each zucchini. It's going to broil. We're going to toss these under the broiler. So, let's turn the broiler on. Broil. Okay, there we go. Whew, couldn't see the oven there. We're going to broil these for just a minute because we want to toast the top. Now, if you wanted your zucchini done a little longer, of course, you could put this back in the oven maybe for 15 minutes and let the whole thing just roast. But we're going to toss these back in the oven just to brown the top of these guys. So let's do that. We've got the breadcrumbs on here. We've got the cheese on there. It's going to toast up nicely. I'm grabbing my glasses to make sure I have the broiler on. There we go. Yeah. Okay, broiler's on. Once I put a pan in the oven under the and accidentally turned the broiler on instead of bake, and I had a parchment paper on that pan, and I did light a fire in my oven. Listen, guys, you know, this is the things that happens in cooking. I came back into the kitchen and the entire stove was on fire because flames were coming from the oven. And those things happen, and you know, I was a little embarrassed to admit that for a while, but that's exactly what happened, and I'm admitting it to you guys because first of all, I always say cooking is fun, but mishaps happen. Like, mishaps just happen, and I don't want that to ever discourage you from trying things in the kitchen and being in the kitchen and trying to be creative. Because listen, it happens to the best of us. I mean, this is just what happens, right? Okay, I'm taking that green onion and I'm just slicing that up because I'm going to put that, sprinkle that over the top. I love that green onions add, they're not overly strong, but they add a nice little fresh crunch that I think they do anyway on the top of things. So I tend to use green onions and top things often with it. I'm going to give myself room to put my pan back down. I'm going to check in with you guys, and then we're going to pull our stuffed zucchini out of the oven. All right, everyone's still with me? How are we doing? I think we're doing pretty well. I'm going to keep my pine nuts ready. I have a little balsamic vinegar, well, I have a lot of balsamic vinegar, but I have balsamic vinegar that I'm going to do just a final little drizzle over the top. Let's check the oven. Okay, let me get a pot pad. Everybody hang with me. I'll be back there in a second. Oh yeah, things are perfect. When you broil things, it goes really quick. You see how nice and browned and crispy everything got just in those couple of minutes? That was broiled on high, and you're getting just, it's browning those crumbs and it's browning that cheese that we put on there. And that's it, you guys. That's the stuffed zucchini. I'm going to come in with a few extra of these pine nuts because I have them and they're pretty on top. I'm going to give this an extra little tiny drizzle, not an extra, a first little drizzle of balsamic. Just a little drop in there. If you don't have this, totally skip it. And if you don't like balsamic vinegar, it doesn't need it. I just thought it'd be a little something extra to add on. I really wanted, when you get a nice vinegar, that just the aged balsamic vinegar is really gonna work out a little bit better there. It drizzles over the top. I'm a lemon fan, so I'm dropping a little lemon on mine. Because again, it's just what I like. And I don't put it on Dave's because he's not as big as a lemon fan. And for prettiness, I'm going to drop in this little basil top. Just like that. Oh, and our little onions. There we go. A little bit of our onions. Guys, that's the stuffed zucchini. We halved it. We scooped it out. We roasted it. We took that inside zucchini, simmered it with a little bit, or sauteed it with a little bit of onion, a little Swiss chard, a little fennel, kind of all those little stalks that you have around the house, some spinach, some Swiss chard. Stuffed it back inside, put a little breadcrumb across the top with a little Parmesan cheese, broiled that for a minute, and that's it. And those pine nuts that just added on top. That's your stuffed zucchini. I hope that you guys give this a try, and if you do, let me know if you like it. If you didn't like it, as I said from the beginning, you know, my tastes are different than yours. You may not enjoy every single recipe, but I'm hoping it'll give you inspiration to cook a little healthier, to find things in your pantry, to find things in your refrigerator, to visit that produce section, because the stores, the produce is still filled at the stores. A lot of those other shelves are still empty. So this is things that you can do with the produce that you're finding there. I'm Monique with Happy Eats Healthy. Thank you so much for joining me. If you're watching this on replay, let us know if you have questions. I'm going back and answering them all the time. This is on the Facebook page, Happy Eats Healthy with Monique. We're porting all these over to our YouTube channel under Monique Costello as well. So you can check for there. And I'm putting all the recipes on the blog at Happy Eats Healthy. We're on Instagram at Happy Eats Healthy, so don't hesitate to tag us. And reach out if I can help you with your health, getting you a little bit healthier from coaching to food. And beyond that, I'm sending you all lots of love and hope you're all doing really well out there. Thanks for joining me, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.